All right, here we go. Should be a quick one. Just thought it's the MT410 Tekno, built it over the winter. I've had like 3 of these. They're fun to build. They're pretty durable. Pretty cheap too. You know, some places you can, some websites you can use coupons on Tekno. And you can get the kit for around 300 bucks. Doesn't come with tires or electronics, but I had tires, electronics. If you get some of the M2C racing bracing going, these things are pretty indestructible. I was bashing and flipping, rolling, and it was cold out. Only thing that broke was shock rod end here. It's a quick fix, cheap fix, but with that broken, what it really means is I have my droop, too much droop, and probably landed on the lid, and when the tires rebounded back, it overextended. That's usually what breaks these rod ends on these. The other ones I've had, when I get them dialed in, I don't have issues. First one I had, I broke several rod ends. It was getting frustrating, and I did a little research and talked about setting the droop right. I had this set pretty, so it gets some pretty good ground clearance. I'll probably tweak that a little bit and change that. So yeah, I'll take you through that. Super easy fix. Other thing happened on my Savage. I don't know why. This is the clutch bell from the Savage. That is pretty bad. And that was me just trying to warm it up on the in the parking lot before I took it out. So didn't even film anything. I mean, this is the original clutch bell. It's probably 12 years old. And I just put a hardened steel spur. So good to know. I got a Robinson Racing set, spur gear clutch bell coming, and that should solve it. But man, that is torn up. All right, let me grab the tools, and we'll get to this fix. It'll be quick. All right, switch the camera view. I'm storage charging a battery and 3D printing, so if you hear some background whirring, that's what that is. This is all you're gonna need. Pretty cheap, you know, you get 4 of them. You know, shock rod end, pretty familiar, most everyone does it. While we're doing this, I'm gonna put in some, and put any padding in for batteries just to help protect it. What I did is, when I got this mat a couple years ago from Cow RC, all these little sections here, these were in there. So you have to remove them so you can, you know, throw your screws or whatever you put in there. I saved all this. It's got double-side stuff on the back. It's nice high-density foam. Really good for throwing in battery trays to protect it. I'll keep the stuff like battery shipping and stuff. There's the softer stuff. I'll use it sometime. It's not the greatest, but better than nothing. So all we really need to do, we'll put that in first. I'm just going to clean the bottom of the battery tray off so it sticks real good with just some isopropyl alcohol. It's a mess of straps on these vehicles sometimes. I'm not going to fill the whole tray up. The way this one mounts, it screws in from this side, so I got these thinner ones. I could put this in and still get those screws out if I need to. So now, let me put a battery in. There'll be some extra protection down there. Yeah, these are pretty tight, these Teknos, obviously really close together, everything's packed in there, so can't put the biggest batteries in here. I'll run it on 4 cell, sometimes 6 cell, pretty wild on 6. So to fix the shock, I'm sure most of you have done that. It's common breakage on any RC. You don't even have to take the shock off if you don't want. Just makes it easier to do. Teknos, I know Traxxas has these too, have these set screws to retain it. Some of them just have small screws. But you need to get the spring retainer and the spring off. And if you don't have a shock tool, highly recommend. If you're going to be jumping and breaking stuff, it makes life so much easier, and you don't mar up the shock shaft trying to get this stuff off. Simply screw it back on. Try to make sure it's started straight. Go till it gets really hard. Don't want to go too far, because if you thread it through, you'll actually cause the plastic to indent, and the ball won't rotate freely like it's supposed to. Just getting the ball. Nice thing about the kits is they come, this is aluminum ball, so they last a long time. Other big bonus about shock tools is they have a section to help you pop balls in nice and easy. Don't make a big mess. I don't know if you can still see it. What I like to do on my shocks too is I mark the center spot on the cap and on the collar, so when you're going to adjust, once you set it up initially, you want to increase tension or loosen tension on the spring, you know how many turns you're going on both shocks. So there's a mark on both, helps you keep things nice and even. Other thing I like to do is when you have something, a screw of some sort, set screw, regular screw, to retain the collar, I like to make it so the whatever end you're using has the hex in it. I put it to the back where it's not going to get dirt thrown up into it. So then when you go to work on it, if it's facing forward, this will get all impacted with dirt and stuff, and then you got to pick it out. And that's probably one of my least favorite things to do, is clean out screws just to take something apart. Another thing on race kits, I'm assuming if you're watching this you're not a racer. Since I'm not going to give you any hints on racing setups, but there's a lot of adjustability on things. So you can see, I think there's 4 different positions you can put the shock in. So just make sure you're matching up and keeping things symmetrical. True on ready to run, some of them have a couple different positions you can put stuff in. I play with it a little bit. I usually set things up kind of stock, or I'll do research and see what some of the race guys do. The reason I get race kits is 1, I like to build, but 2, they're just so much better handling than a ready to run. Not to say I have my fair share of armas, but I usually kind of tweak for sure shocks and stuff to get things how I like it. I'll just droop real quick. So to adjust a droop, that's just how much you're letting the arms like kind of come down. I like to set it so you don't overextend, which I'm pretty sure is what happened when that broke. You can see these boots are still there's got some slack in it, so I know it's not too bad, but must be enough. So you can see to adjust droop, there's just screws here. Most models have them ready to run through race kits, and that's how you can adjust how much your arms are. You know, when I'm fully loaded, I like my arms to be about flat. So unloaded, a little bit of a downturn, but I put screws with the 2 washers in to kind of keep it consistent. I'm going to take one of the washers out on each corner, all 4 corners, and that will raise the arms up. The screw will protrude more out the bottom, and then it hits these tabs on your chassis, and that's what keeps it set. You can see maybe that screw protruding right there hits those ears, and that's what helps kind of keep the arms from going way down. I don't think Traxxas has those on them. I have a couple of those too. Pretty easy. If I can get my tool in there. So like I said, 2 washers. I'm going to remove 1. You know, so that's, I don't know what the geometry is, but these washers are a decent amount. 3/4 of a millimeter, 0.75 millimeters. So that's how much I'm gonna raise it. We'll see. So I don't know if it'll come through on camera. And obviously as things get dented, it's not necessarily even. But again, I'm not racing it. I don't know if you can tell, there's a little difference. This arm's slightly higher up than that one. And playing around, getting your droop right. I mean, you like the most amount of travel you can get. At least I do. Most amount of travel I can get without breaking these shock rod ends all the time. So I'll play with it a bit till I get it how I like. Want to play nice, so I'll rotate the arm. Obviously I like my tips magnetized, if you can't tell. couple magnets I'll use to recharge them as needed, and even have a thing that demagnetizes if for some reason you don't want it magnetized, which if you're in some hard to reach places sometimes you don't want it magnetized because you kind of get it all set how you want and then stuff gets in the way. Need some more. Show you what I got up here. So just one of these magnetized little holders. Run the screwdriver or your driver there and you're magnetized. Picks up stuff nice. The other one I have is in my box of stuff I bring with me to make quick repairs. So we're done. That was it. We're all good to go. We're cushioned in our battery tray. Fixed the shock rod end, adjusted droop a little bit. Actually quite a bit in the back, I think. So hopefully that will help with all that. So bear with me, I'm going to move. I was talking about the toolbox I bring with me for when I bash. So I just like to bring, all the shock rod ends, bearings, a bunch of hinge pins. Under here, just a bunch of spares. I have quite a few vehicles, so I got a lot of different stuff. And this is my bin of arms and tires and some fan setups. So I bring this. Anything that's quickly repaired I can do in the field. That's nice to do. I would recommend if you're planning on going out to do some jump and get some big air, always bring extra parts. You're gonna break stuff. Nothing's completely indestructible, but most things, once you get dialed in, maybe some aftermarket bracing and stuff, I mean, it's usually things like arms, rod ends, body mounts. That's pretty much all that breaks for the most part on stuff once I got dialed in. Every once in a while, shock caps. Bad landings, you might bend some shock towers and stuff. This whole kit is 775 aluminum, so pretty durable. Like I said, this is my third one I've built. I've sold off the other two I've gotten. They're fun. I kind of sell. I love them when I first get them. Get some other RCs, maybe don't drive it as much, and then have sold it, but that's kind of the game I'm in, period. So, well, appreciate you watching. Hopefully you learned a little something, or at least something about an MT410, if nothing else.